In Sonoma County, police officials would sometimes unjustly arrest innocent citizens off the streets, without any evidence of the scene. During this altercation, the district attorney may take over the case, causing an unnecessary criminal trial. Let me give a domestic violence misunderstanding an example, as a summary of the nature in the facility. The system has professional skills to coax the plaintiff to attend each court session, under an anonymous name, through the Department of Justice, against the targeted individual. If this happens, the judge will have a reason to believe there is a high-profile criminal case. When the judges believe this, the defendant has not been assumed innocent before proven guilty, because the legal system in Sonoma County is corrupted. In this brutalized Cold War America, individuals are supposed to be assumed innocent before proven guilty, but obviously, the legal systems have failed to follow our state laws. For instance, there was an inmate from the Sonoma County Jail who went to court and the judge had proven the defendant not guilty, without proof. They did not examine the case correctly, pleading the defendant both mentally competent and incompetent altogether, in one case, and is not aware of the psychological evaluation requested by a different judge. By law, the defendant is pleaded one or the other, not both. He was pleaded not guilty on all counts, but the judge wrongfully referred the case to psychiatrists, to start a psychiatric trial, even though the criminal trial was over, by providing the defendant as not guilty. This means, the victim had faced way too many illegal court proceedings that are rare, for many people in this situation. Without his awareness, the judge decided to arrange a mysterious court session, in the absence of his advocates and himself. Nobody knows exactly what was discussed in this courtroom. As I examined the defendant's trial and his insanity plea, there were multiple violations, by psychiatrists, who have spuriously evaluated this victim and dismissed his constitutional rights. The judge submitted a temporary conservatorship notice, ignoring illegal activity of perjury, and was abandoned, by the public defender of Sonoma Superior Courts, causing the defendant to lose his conservatorship case, in the wrong jurisdiction in the county of Santa Clara. This inmate was a well-known prey sucked into a nightmare of very harsh court abuse, as well as invalid court proceedings. This situation has led many victims homeless, when they are released into the Sonoma's community. Nearly over 4,000 Sonoma County residences are homeless and the population has increased over time. Half of them were filmed and interviewed by our media and have been repeatedly victimized through Sonoma's criminal justice system. While in a court session in Sonoma County, all juries must follow the court guidelines. Unfortunately, the inmate previously mentioned was on probation for a misdemeanor charge. When the judge called her only last victim on the stand, the victim noticed that all the defendants of the courtroom stood up in front of the judge, but he sat in a seat throughout his whole court session. The judge had tried everything in her power to have him committed permanently to a local state hospital, for purposeless treatment. If this were to happen, we would have a normal man who would be terrorized in the state hospital. Although this placement was terminated, he was unlawfully shoved back in jail and lost his housing. Months later, his incarceration had left him bankrupt, on the verge of being homeless. This is how Sonoma County operates their legal system. Our media have gathered in a meeting discussion recently and reported that it is unacceptable to place ordinary citizens that commit everyday crimes in the North Bay's non-profit state hospitals. Many inmates, at the Sonoma County Jail were pleaded mentally competent, but pleaded incompetent, at a later date, to degrade their dignity. Once the judge says that the defendant is pleaded mentally competent, they cannot alter the competency results. This issue is a violation of an illegitimate court act. Disability Rights California, DRC, has stepped up to confirm that mentally ill inmates with a felony are more likely to be a patient in state hospitals, not those with minor charges.
The state hospitals only take people facing felony charges.
Sonoma County is one of those counties that does not view it like this. The county needs to save the beds for those who serve a life sentence, without parole. This includes murder and sex offense cases. Geez. Follow the state laws. Stop relying on psychiatrists to manipulate human minds. This is how normal people are committed to state hospitals. Oh my. No wonder why state hospitals cannot accept more patients. There's no more beds. Can we get the innocent victims out, who are forced to believe they are severely mentally ill? Although his case should be criminal, the court system chose to focus on a personal situation that was a year ago. They have turned his case into a judgment of sanity, rather than a judgment of the crimes committed. Nope, the crimes against some inmates don't matter, in the Sonoma's Hall of Justice. The inmate's negative history has haunted him through the court of law, causing him to be victimized by the judicial system. Shoot. There were 4 psychiatrists on this case, who took the stand to examine the mentality of this victim. This case took place for many months and the charges were dismissed, due to the confusion of the inmate's mental stability, based on divergent reports from multiple psychiatrists.